Hello and welcome to Breakfast Central. Thank you for being here. It's a very interesting day and a good time to be here with us on Breakfast Central on a Wednesday morning. It's day 41. The kidnappers who actually kidnapped students and teachers in Oyo State have still not released them. We have updates. The update simply is the state governor, Governor Seyi Makinde, has decided to call on a curfew in some parts of the state and has mentioned that they have blocked the escape routes, especially for the kidnappers, and he's certain that they will not be able to escape. Not just him, but of course the security operatives. That's the update we have on that as we start off on a Wednesday morning. Don't forget, while we're marking 41 days, we are also mentioning that we are waiting on INEC to give us an update on the Professor Joash Amokwita's case concerning the forensic analysis that happened on X and on Emeka Ike's case concerning the staff, or better still, anybody whom they have mentioned who worked in connivance with the SSA to the Federal Capital Territory, talking about Mr. Leroy Olayinka in exposing details of Emeka Ike online. We're waiting, we're still counting down. But that's how I'm going to start the show this morning, just to make sure there's accountability. Joining us as well, and who's going to be here with me definitely on a Wednesday morning, is a lady in red.
The lady in Guru Maharaji red.
Why did you have to jump in?
Wow.
I didn't observe.
I didn't realize you are a Guru Maharaji worshipper.
No, as a journalist, you observe these things, and this, your red, is the same tone of red is Haderi's
Satguru Maharaji.
Yes, the enlightened one. But go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, let me go ahead. Good morning, Lagos, Nigeria. We're reaching you live from the city of aquatic splendor, but a lot of Lagosians are complaining about the saints. It's not, these days it's not sainting well.
Where's our antebellum?
It's not smelling well. They say holiness is next to godliness. We have numbers of churches and mosques, and to see our environment in this state.
Is it like they say cleanliness, they don't say holiness?
Okay, cleanliness is next to God. No, it was a slip of tongue. Cleanliness is don't be interfering.
Because you wanted to drag churches and mosques inside this thing.
So cleanliness is next to godliness, and for the amount of churches and mosques we have in Lagos, you expect the environment to be in a better state. It's quite disappointing, and it's reached a crisis level. I will not stop talking about it. Please, these things can lead to diseases and all sorts of pandemic if it's not taken care of. Refuse, we have a waste management crisis in Lagos. It's one thing to say we generate 13 to 14,000 tons of waste every day. It's another thing to clean it up. But away from that, I mean, this is Breakfast Central. If you just joined for the first time, this is where all the action happens. If you've not followed the news cycle in the last 24 hours, we'll bring you everything you need to know. And also we bring you subject matter analysts to dissect everything that you need to know and break it down into bite sizes for you. But the FIFA World Cup is currently ongoing. Ooh. Ghana. Yes, the Black Stars of Ghana. Yes, they held England to a 0-0 draw, and what I find fascinating about it is the juju man, the medicine man that said he was going to turn hurricane to sugar cane. He did succeed, but I wish he used that juju to make Ghana a developed country instead of wasting it on football. Wow, but do you think it really it was because of that juju man? That was why hurricane was firing blanks.
Let's go and
I did a report some years ago.
Speaking about World Cup, yesterday many people were expecting that a certain person would score a hat-trick.
He did get a brace, so that's good.
That's
but I mean, against Uzbekistan, Joe.
That's the goal.
Joe, I know you've not played football in a long time, but if I give you boots, I think you will score. You will score against Uzbekistan.
Like, I can't me that I don't play football. I think I can score against Uzbekistan.
That's the GOAT, man. I don't care who he plays with, man.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of all the fans of the GOATs. All of them were just.
And he was saying
their chest was pumping yesterday.
He's back.
All because Messi scored hat-trick.
But why do they call them goats? Is it that they say man?
They were, you know, my mother, I have a video of my mother asking me, why, no, my auntie, what is the meaning of goats? I said, Auntie, goat is goat. Now she said, no, I usually see goats. I say goats. I now have to tell her greatest of all time. Well, congratulations to all the...
Ewu is goat anymore, yeah.
All the Portugal fans, all the supporters of the goats. And my heart, my thoughts, my prayers to the supporters of Uzbekistan.
What? You are no Uzbek. You are no
Uzbekistan? Or you? Yeah.
Okay, let's see this one, you guys.
But jokes apart, what team are you rooting for? Do you know I've kind of forgiven Morocco because they play good football. I've forgiven them for stealing our towels.
Eyimba is what I'm okay. Eyimba or Owerri Wolves.
How about you, Joe? Joe, the way I see Joe,
introduce myself to the audience.
Joe is giving South Africa support. He has a soft spot for South Africa.
Is that what you are wearing uncle this morning? Anyway, if you're just joining us for the very first time on Breakfast Central, thank you for joining us. For the next 3 hours, we'll take you on a tour around the country discussing the rather uncomfortable stories that you have to know, that you need to know as part of, you know, the nation's unraveling, even as we're looking at the political space, economic space. And my colleague Benga did allude to the scent of Lagos, the spirit of the scent of Lagos. Joe had sent me a tweet of two people. There was two fighting on X. The Minister of Environment and Commissioner of Environment and another humanitarian. But let's go on a quick break, and when we come back, I'll tell you my name if you don't know about that. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. My name is Olive Emodi, and for the next 3 hours, the three of us, the Avengers of Nigerian media. I'm going to tell my children that we are the Avengers. We'll be taking you around Nigeria. Let's start with a latest development regarding the former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai. He has opted to file a no-case submission after the Department of State Services, DSS, closed its case against him in the ongoing trial over alleged unlawful interception of communications involving the National Security Advisor. The former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, is challenging the case brought against him by the Department of State Services. The DSS, after presenting its witnesses, announced the closure of its case in the trial. El-Rufai's legal team declared their intention to file a no-case submission, insisting that the prosecution has failed to provide sufficient evidence to warrant him entering a defense. With the DSS satisfied with its defense, and the defense pushing for dismissal, all eyes announced September 22nd, when the court will decide whether El-Rufai must continue to stand trial or walk free. Let's take a look at the video.
So DSS has officially dropped the case. We hear it's a 5-count charge, and they say, you know what, they're not going any further with the case. However, let's also give you an update very quickly and let you know that the former Kaduna State Governor is actually set to file a no-case submission in his alleged wiretapping as well. That's one. Two, the DSS was prosecuting him on an amended 5-count charge bordering on alleged unlawful interception of communications and breach of national security. That's him. I guess, are we going to say that it's an end?
No, it's not an end. We'll find out.
And as the resident lawyer, what's a no-case submission?
Basically, they're saying that they don't have enough evidence to push for this case. But I forgot to mention a very important part, that, what's his name? Deji Adeyanju, reports have it that he was a star witness in the prosecution's case, making reference to the interview that El-Rufai had granted on Arise Television, where he admitted to having listened in on the conversation. So the question is, do they have sufficient enough evidence? You know, they are obviously, exactly, the legal instrument being used here will be the Cyber Crimes Acts or maybe any other interception laws. And so the question is, do they have sufficient case? You know,
so El-Rufai outed himself
on TV.
It's another thing to prove that he has the capabilities to do it.
So the court just has to prove whether there's a prima facie case. If there's substantial enough evidence to say, okay, we have something to investigate here, we have something to adjudicate upon. And we'll find out by September 22nd if, there really is.
Was there any talks on his bail application? Because he said he doesn't have any level 17, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the court did.
That has property in. How do you expect a civil servant to have property?
No, but Justice Abdul Malik kicked it out. And she maintained it. Justice Joyce Abdul Malik maintained that, look, of course, you should have a civil. They didn't vary the bail application, the bail conditions.
But so you should go and look for.
I think El-Rufai's lawyer, Rokoro, applied for a variation of bail
yes,
conditions.
the lawyer applied for, but the judge kicked it out, and the judge maintained that the bail conditions still stand. Just to mention, so it was the defense that asked for that, but the DSS opposed the request, and Justice Abdul Malik declined the bail variation application, holding that civil servants who own properties in the designated areas could serve as surety, and could serve as sureties are available. So you know them. Don't come and be acting humble like you don't know these people.
So civil servants live in Maitama?
My dear, they do apparently.
Okay.
Well, we'll continue to follow up with the case and see what the reports are saying regarding that. But of course, now you realize how the matter has shifted. The initial issue was El-Rufai coming into Nigeria in February, coming from Cairo, and there was an alleged arrest, or there was an attempted arrest at the airport. In a bid to prove that this attempted arrest was, orchestrated by the NSA, then he goes to out himself on television and says, he listened in on the conversation, and that is what has led us.
A few moments later.
A few moments later, we are here where we are. But we'll take a few comments just to mention that we do get reactions on YouTube. So if you'd like to talk about any of the stories that we've handled, we're streaming on YouTube, News Central TV Live. Please head to YouTube, drop your comments, and we'll take the comments from there.
I think we should, because, it's a national emergency. I was talking about Lagos earlier, and Mr. Johnson said, good morning, Breakfast Central. What's happening in Lagos? And at the same time, Ocho-D 2415 in Abuja says, good morning, beautiful people. Guadalajara is also in crisis, or coming from Wazobia Motor Park, SDP Junction. It's an eyesore. The waste is pushing into the main road. So you shared a video of Idumota yesterday where the waste has taken half of the road. This is the most basic function of any state. You're not as large as the population of Mexico City, Jakarta, Bombay, Mumbai in India, and they're not an eyesore. You expect visitors to drive into your capital to come conduct business, and imagine going to a country and seeing this eyesight, this eyesore. It's quite disturbing.
And with the little rain, the roads, some parts of the roads that were not worked on. I mean, that's a picture there. Take a look at this.
No, this is terrible.
Come on.
It's terrible.
So you know what's even sad about this thing? We'll come back to take comments on El-Rufai, but you can still drop your comments about the state of hygiene in Lagos State.
This is our star story.
Because we don't realize that the sad part about this is the normalization of this, and how you start. I mean, growing up, a number of us who grew up here, you remember that when we were younger, there was a culture of hygiene beyond the sanitation. In school, the kind of punishment they gave us was go and pick around.
Yeah.
You pick the paper. There was a mental and a psychological adjustment to the fact that death should not be thrown around. Where we are as a people, and it drives me crazy when I see this. I'm on the highway and there's a bus in front of me and somebody has just finished eating okpa. Not okpa, of course, but like they finished eating something and they toss it out.
One time.
It's almost like they don't think about it. They don't flinch when they throw it out through the window. So we now have a culture of dirtiness that we must unlearn. But the way to unlearn it is to ensure that there are alternatives and then there are punitive measures.
And then beyond the human factor too, the authorities that are responsible for clearing garbage should be regular. They should clear. How do you leave household waste for 2 months without packing them? The excuse of Olusosun dump, you're trying to transition it. You should have planned for the day ahead. It's unfortunate, and there's no excuse for this. And rather than break backs and blaming and fighting on social media, please, Nigerians are tired of stories. Do something about it. If you look at the amount of money Lagos generates as internally generated revenue, to have a state with this sort of environment,
trillions.
Yes,
trillions
it's
of
sad.
my greatest worry in all of this. I mean, see how we just segued from Nasir El-Rufai
No, we
story.
finished the talk.
I mean, we'll finish
On the
that story.
22nd, you will know
Yeah, I
what
think
is
we'll finish
going on
that
in
story. It's good
September.
to even move. But this particular one, we're having a conversation and it's so important. And it's so important because I am more concerned about the fact that you have children going to school. They have to swim through that water. You have people going to work. Have you seen the level of water when it rains?
The stench.
Now, it's not just rising. You're not just dipping your legs, your entire body, walking in a swamped area.
Imagine if someone has an open cut.
While you're doing that, you're seeing dirt. I've seen videos.
Floating.
Deaths floating. Nylon bags,
Human waste.
human waste floating, and so on. And you're walking in there, and guess what? Not far off from the dirty water, you see the bin. There are bins littered everywhere, just there, and you just have to swim and manage. You get home, you try to bathe, but what if the germs and so on? There's a lot. And I'm wondering
It's
why
a health crisis.
there's a lot coming, and we must be careful before Lagos picks up a certain serious case of a pandemic where we now have to start rushing to tell people, there's this pandemic spreading, people are now falling ill, and so on and so forth. It's worrisome. But
I just saw a comment from Frank Obuti. People are really rude.
I mean,
but no, please, let's take this picture.
Come on.
We should have. Let's remove it, please. We should have said viewer discretion. Viewer discretion. Please, let's remove it.
Your breakfast. I mean, come on. Let's see what Nigerians are
It's
saying.
part of the job.
I know it's the shock factor to let us know that that's the reality of what some people. And the sad thing is that some people live around these environments. I can't even imagine.
And it's not just Lagos. So we're commissioning flyovers, we're speaking big English.
Common dustbin.
And then the most basic thing that a government should do, you can't take care of it. It rubbishes every sort of statistics you're really now. The FCT minister is commissioning bridges and flyovers every other week, but he can't do the needful with street lights and basic waste management.
Frank Obute says, when all of the waste managers are all standing on the mandate against persons like Ambody, what do you expect? Everyone will be all right. Last people are rude. People have mouths in this place. Michael Zeus says, it's the same way refuse dumps are spilling into the roads in Karu, Jikoyi, Kurudu, Kashi, all in Abuja. Both Sanwo-Olu and Wike are not interested in cleanliness. They prefer building roads and bridges. Mr. Johnson says, if you see the commissioner trying to attack people who are making complaints about what is obvious, even with picture and video evidence. Okay, I'm not sure I can see this last part. Anyway, but
let's go next. Let's take comments.
These gargantuan projects are more easily padded for pecuniary benefits.
Okay.
Michael Zeus, you do like to speak a lot of English.
Gargantuan and
Please,
pecuniary.
you need another in one line. Only you. Two big English.
Let's see what that judge was saying concerning the former governor.
No, but before we go to X, let's just take a few comments regarding the update about El-Rufai on YouTube. Then we can now go to X since we're still on YouTube. Michael Zeus says, object about the master strategies. When El-Rufai rallied northern governors to support Tinubu, he didn't know that those who ride on the backs of tiger end up in its belly. Michael Zeus is on a roll this morning.
He's on fire.
Remi Adeleke says, even if you commit murder, as long as in opposition to this government, I need to read this comment. He said, even if you commit murder, as long as in opposition to this government, New Central will support you. How?
We're not partisan.
Please, we are not partisan. And then final comment I'll take before we head to YouTube and then to an X and come back. Mr. Johnson says they already settled the case behind closed doors. Nigeria, my country, if it were ordinary citizens that is involved in this kind of issues, Otilo. Let's take a few comments on X and then we can come back to YouTube after that. On X this morning,
let's see on X, Jima says, a no-case submission is a good move from his team. Even it has been overruled, they still have the option to enter their defense. And that's what Jima says. Sam Steady, excellent, says now he can go back to his party, APC. It appears the plan of disintegrating the opposition didn't work as planned. Did you say APC or ADC? Maybe. That's what you were meant to say.
guess he wanted to
Amos Asylum says the court's going to review the no-case submission. If they agree with it, the charges might get dismissed. If they don't, the defense will begin their case. That's what they say. Let's see who else is saying something. Bro Abba, definitely a lawyer, has that image there in the picture there. He says, with the complainants closing their case and the defense arguing there is no case to answer. The matter now moves to the next legal phase. Ultimately, the court's decision should be based on the evidence presented.
Please, can we go back to that? I don't think you were done.
I'm not
reading
done.
that.
Let's see if we
go back to
that. Presented and the law, not public opinion or political considerations.
Now, Joe, very good statement there, but I want you to take a closer look at this display picture.
That's what I said. I said he must be a lawyer. What I said.
Who is that
Papa?
person?
No, I know he's a lawyer. I don't want to
No, he's not a lawyer, please. It's Papa.
Let's move on.
Barrister Popo.
Jude, Ekwenike, Nigeria is intriguing. That's what he says. But that's what we're going to take. Let's go to our next story very quickly and tell you that River State Commissioner of Police, Olugbenga Adepoju, has taken decisive action against illegal police roadblocks in the state. During an inspection tour along the east-west road in Emohua and the Port Harcourt Owerri Road in Ikwerre, Adepoju ordered the immediate dismantling of unauthorized checkpoints that were causing traffic delays and fueling complaints of extortion. Yeah, there was a video of somebody, a police officer, extorting someone in broad daylight. He was doing it with so much pride, and he wasn't hiding. Well, he reminded officers that the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, had directed commands nationwide to stop blocking roads. Oh, can they come to Lagos? Maintain proper uniforms and display name tags, which I have something to say about that, while on duty. I think what you want that the officers found violating these rules will face disciplinary measures with details of offenders already recorded for sanctions. This occurred just as President Tinubu yesterday sent a constitutional amendment bill to the Senate for the establishment of state police. The president can no longer wait. So he sent it to the Senate and said, look at it, let's approve it quickly. By the way, the Senate is expected to consider the constitutional amendment bill for the establishment of state police today. Today, yes, I said today. Senate President Senator Akpabio announced that states have also promised to consider the state police bill on the same day, which is today, once they receive it. The president sent it yesterday. They have it yesterday. They're going to review it today. It means that before the weekend or before Monday, you may be having a constitution or drafting and so on and so forth. But let's take a look at both videos. Just see what the Commissioner of Police in the River State actually did. He decided to take a sweep, Operation Sweep, sorry, a walk. Take a look. Mm-hmm.
No crest, oh.
He's not a policeman.
No, he's not are you a policeman?
He's not.
No, it's not true.
A policeman.
Let me see your crest.
He's not a policeman. He's not a policeman.
What's your first number? Me, I can't read it. It's eating all over. An SPO, ASP.
Okay.
This rank.
See the place of my.
Is that where you wear slippers and you're on the road?
Because of the rain. Because of the rain.
Let me see your belt. Let me see the belt you are wearing. Let me see the kind of belt you are wearing.
Because of the rain.
Let me see the kind of belt you are wearing to your uniform. Wait. Is this policeman?
Is it Ania? Ania is one.
You are a very responsible officer. Get his details. Where are you serving? Don't talk in no. Where are you serving? Where are you serving, my friend? Keep quiet. Stop that nonsense.
Safe highway.
They tell you to be disgracing yourself. You are disgracing yourself. You are not fit to wear that rank. Get his details for me.
What's your IP number?
You. Why do you block road? Go and remove those things first. Why did you block that road? I'm talking to you.
This man is not a policeman.
No crest, oh.
He's not a policeman.
No, are you a policeman?
He's not.
No, it's not true.
He's not a policeman.
Let me see your crest.
He's not a policeman. He's not a policeman.
What's your first number?
2417.
When did he join the police?
Come on, come on.
Is he a policeman?
No. Call again. He's not a policeman. Call.
24. 17. 34.
Look at his own name tag. He's woven, he's cursive this thing. This one, they are not in the police. Are you a serving policeman?
Yes, sir.
Is this how they sew black?
What's your name?
Ribadu, the most friendly governor to the legislature in Nigeria. We'll have time to discuss that later. But for today, we have a slight tragedy. So in line with our tradition, we will not do much. But if we can improve upon this number tomorrow, we can conclude on the issue of constitutional alteration and state policing. So if you have anything to add to the state police, we have distributed the journal, the National Journal of the Gazette to you. So please study it. And then we have also distributed the report of the Constitutional Amendment, but maybe we distill it instead of taking everything. We just take 1 or 2 items so that they can go fast to the state, and before we come back, they are ready. The states are promised to take it on the same day once they receive it. So I just felt I should really thank you. Then from the executive arm of government, they have also decided to make input because of how important it is. So I'll read the correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCN, President of the Senate, dated 15th of June 2026.
All right, so that's the updates there from the inspection driven by the Commissioner.
My namesake.
By your namesake.
Yes, the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State.
Yeah.
Olugbenga.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that video.
There's so many things to speak about in that video. Number one is the fact that the Inspector General of Police will give a directive and they will clearly flaunt it. And number two, very disturbing, is their mode of dressing. There's a saying, you dress the way you want to be addressed. Why do you think so many people don't respect men of the Nigerian police force? It's because of things like this. I remember as a boy soldier, as an 11, 10-year-old, we wear uniforms for parade every morning. You're given that responsibility, you shine your boots, you wear an anklet, you wear your belt, you wear a beret with a cap badge, you wear your layard, you wear your name tag. There's so many things, and you wear your emblem, the stuff that shows the class you are. Every day, discipline for your 6 years in Nigeria Military School, Zaria. And if you fail at that, you will serve job. That's punishment. If anything goes wrong with that, that's responsibility and discipline that has been instilled in kids, in teenagers, then let alone professional policemen that have been in the force for more than a decade, and to see them desecrate the Nigerian police uniform in this form. No belt, you wear a cap with slippers. No emblem, you wear Crocs, you wear slippers. It's absolutely disgraceful. And sometimes you can't blame them. It's a system-wide problem. I've heard that some of them have to buy their uniforms themselves, and remuneration is poor. So to whom much is given, much is expected. So
to whom little is given, little is expected.
Holistic, exactly. And to whom little is given, little is expected.
Shege is expected.
Yeah.
but I'm also worried that, I mean, they mentioned name tags. I wanted to talk about that. So ever since the Inspector General of Police mentioned that name tags must show, please, and I hope they are listening, the fellow police officers, colleagues, members, I want to use all form to mention, to identify. They've created a new way to still block the name.
They'll wear bulletproof.
Bulletproof.
They are smart.
Even when the bulletproof is completely worn out.
Or sweaters.
Exactly. The ones I've been seeing, sweaters. And you're wondering, but they said your name tags must show. People must know. So there's sweater, there's bulletproof. There's one I even saw. He had there's this thing called what's it called? It was a sweater, but he wrapped it around his shoulder, so it dropped to block the name.
That name tag. Why? In the past, it was like a.
It used to be
a pin. A pin.
That you attach. I mean, I had an old, yes.
In military school, we used to wear that.
My uncle was in the military too. I remember
but now they make them sew their false numbers into the uniform because they know. But still, Ogbon, Mr. Sadiq, they are wiser than wise.
So I think the Nigerian police force should look into that. This issue of name tags are very good, because if anything is committed, anything happens,
you can trace it.
You can identify them and say,
gives a level of accountability.
Exactly. Yeah. And the guys who had extorted the young man, collected a huge sum from him, and told him if he doesn't pay them, they were going to shoot him in that same River State. The update is that while this sweep was going on, they eventually caught them. They apprehended. They've been apprehended, and they're in an orderly room as we speak. We want to hold, and I like this. So I wish this could be done regularly.
The only thing exactly, that's just what I wanted to pick up. That I hope that it will be a regular thing, because it's not just in River State. Even in Lagos, when we hear no roadblocks, there's still people who mount to roadblocks to ask you, hey, how are you, ma? Anything for the boys? Happy weekend? Or they're telling you to bring out your papers, to, and they're checking. So I hope it's not just a one-off. That is something that is done regularly. And this is really, it's an embarrassment. Oh, no, I don't like this particular part of the video. Please, I don't want to see red boxers. It's morning.
It's okay. Let's see what Nigerians are saying very quickly. Let's see what Nigerians are saying very quickly. I mean, like the CP said, he said, I mean, anyway, what are Nigerians saying about this story? Before we go on YouTube, let's go on X very quickly. Loyal Bun says, Omo, I love the way that man talks. Leadership at its peak. Yes, but we do hope it continues. Salem SBM says,
I've never
like Rema.
Police work sweet. I want to become police officer in the world.
I remember when in another world. When we were much younger, I remember how people used to look. If you said you wanted to be a police officer, I think that they wouldn't have, smacked it out of you. Right now, we need to ensure that our police gets back to the point where young children can say, when I grow up, I want to be a police officer. And you'll be happy.
There are policemen to admire. You look at people like Musliu Smith.
There are policemen to admire, but they have...
Fatai, you're even going too far. I stumbled on Frank Mba. I stumbled on his profile. I was stunned yesterday night. He has a master's degree. He has 2 degrees. He just opened his practice. He went back to his practice. He went back to office, after leaving the police.
He's a lawyer.
Oh, he's a lawyer, certified. He has his school
so again,
I'm like...
Again, just to mention that I'm not saying that there aren't police officers to admire. There are police officers who know their onions, police officers who are representing the force well, and who are people of integrity. Unfortunately, there are a lot of bad eggs. And just like bad news travels faster.
Those are the ones we see.
Exactly, those are the ones that we see.
On a daily basis.
So we need
the finest dressed policemen I've seen in my Nigerian policemen was in Hong Kong International Airport so many years ago. They were on their way to East Timor in Indonesia for United Nations peacekeeping assignment. I had to walk to them and tell them that I'm a Nigerian, that you guys are looking very solid.
Wonderful.
But there's an update as well. We do hear that the IG, Inspector General of Police, has said all police officers should stop using social media, TikTok and the likes. It sounded like a rumor
maybe
first, but later the Punch newspaper took it up.
You know what? I can see why they would say that, because we've had incidences where members of the police force jump on trends. But it's only in Nigeria where our own is very hard. Abroad, the police, there was a
Army.
Yeah, so let's use the police. There was a particular TikTok trend where they said they use the song "Your Dad Is Home," and they said, "Oh, does he hold your hands?" We do, and they showed the police holding your hand. Does he do this does he take pictures of you? And then they showed the police taking mugshots of someone and say, "We do." Please jump on cool trends. I don't see the big deal, but to each his own. Let's see what Nigerians are saying so we can move to our next conversation. Very important conversation YouTube, right? There. Okay,
we still have this one.
On X, then we'll come to YouTube. This should happen a lot. It should be a thing. Pelofa says at least 70% of our insecurity issues will be resolved with state police. The concerns on abuse by state governors can be discussed on its merits in the future. The pros far outweighs the cons, according to Block.
I hope it's thoroughly thought through, though, and we're not rushing into state
It's too late to be asking whether it's thoroughly thought through. It's too late.
I don't want a situation where policeman will stop Olive and say, did you greet me this afternoon?
Then I'll tell the policeman, you should turn on your TV. All of us are Awani Buru. We are all in the same area now. End to insecurity on the horizon. State governors will have no excuses against protecting the internal security within their states. And this is a part I would rather happen. That when there's insecurity within the state, as opposed to always calling Mr. President, now we can say,
or waiting for Mr. President to give the matching order.
Now let's see, because they are getting increased FAC allocation. Now you have the control of the state police. Let's see what you can do with that. Someone says, can they get done with it already? It's taken too much time already. This is in response to state police, of course. And End to insecurity on the horizon. State governors will have no excuses. Okay, we've taken this one. Let's come on YouTube. On YouTube, we have those officers are not there on their own accord. They are giving returns to someone higher. The police needs massive reforms, not these superficial fixes. Treat roots, not symptoms. I agree with the massive reforms. Michael Obieku says, go back to that same spot. You will see the roadblock. He said, I be no be Niger police where we know again. Mr. Johnson says, this is a good one. If the police have it in their head that their bosses can pass by at any time, they will be responsible. It's because they are so sure nothing will happen if they do. Whatever they do, give them the confidence to continue in illegality. And then Chisan says, this one is initial gra-gra. The other is still very hot. Just give them 1 month. Everything will return back to normal. I'll be using on Nigeria again. Nigerian police, please shock us. Shock the naysayers.
One of my other concerns, because even with the regular police as it is in this present structure, we have inter-services rivalry where policemen get in spats with NSCDC and all of that. And I hope there won't be a dichotomy of state police and federal police, having spats at each other. I hope they really, really think out this modality before they roll it out. Because you'll be hearing, are you from LAPD or NYPD? Are you Ekiti PD or Lagos or Akwa Ibom PD?
No, you from Delta PD.
This one is from Delta PD.
It's like when CIA and FBI usually find, they're like, no, we're taking over. You can tell you're meant to step down now. When FBI is taking over, they're like, oh, one arm, maybe CIA is trying to do their own, or the local police is trying to do their own, and they're like, oh, the FBI should not come in.
I'm really excited of the state police. But let's
you now see all your state police who come to Ogun State Police. Step down. Shema Fema Furi Wurin.
Please.
Let me clarify that story.
Please clarify.
The IG of police stressed that officers are barred from creating or sharing unauthorized content while in police uniform. Publicly commenting on official matters, disclosing sensitive operational information, or using their status as police officers for personal promotion, entertainment, or commercial purposes. The police boss directed all commissioners of police, heads of departments, commanders, and other supervisory officers to immediately sensitize personnel under their commands and ensure strict compliance with the directive. It further warned that supervisory officers would be held accountable for any failure to address violations committed by personnel under their watch. So, will this stop Bright Edafe from explaining crime?
No, he's doing his job.
So that's well, exactly.
Yeah.
But
what Bright Edafe can't do is to promote a shampoo brand and say buy this or have a promo code. He never did. Yeah, but
what about the dancing on TikTok?
They said entertainment. That falls on.
Yeah, that falls on.
There you go.
Anyway, I don't know why we're tighting the wall to our chest. Let's move to our next story.
Still on police though.
Yes.
Something happened yesterday.
Yes, very, very important one. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Tijani Fataya, confirmed a disturbing incident involving the Managing Director of First Bank, Oluwasegun Adepoju. Reports say a dispatch rider delivered a confidential envelope to his residence, which was received by security personnel and later handed directly to him. Upon opening the parcel, Adepoju discovered 2 live bullets concealed inside with no letter or message to indicate who sent them. The police have launched an investigation to uncover the source and motive behind this threatening delivery. Authorities are treating the matter with utmost seriousness, assuring the public that security around the bank chief has been tightened while efforts continue to trace the dispatch rider and identify those responsible. This case highlights growing concerns about targeted intimidation and the need for vigilance in the state. Let's take a look.
Well, there was a case like that. There is a case rather like that, which we are presently investigating. Precisely on the 7th of May this year, the director of First Bank reported that he collected a parcel that was collected for him by his guard in his house, and when he opened the parcel, he saw 2 ammunitions, precisely live ammunitions, precisely 7.62 live ammunition, and that arose a lot of suspicion, and here and there we went to investigation into the matter. But presently I can confirm to you that the matter is still under investigation. It's a serious case, and I think the investigation needs to be more thorough that we'll think of. So we are still on the investigation of that matter.
So any suspect in custody? He's announced that, and I think there's so many things to look at. First of all, is the fact that that thing was not just a random thing. It was obviously a message that was being sent, a 7.62 mm live ammunition round. It's not even just a random gun. It's military grade bullets. So if you're looking at that, someone just sending you bullets is not
sends a message.
It's sending a message. I can't imagine how he and his family must feel at the moment, you know, when this is happening.
I like the fact that the police have swung into action. We've always requested for what we just saw, which is a presser.
Communication.
And that's exactly what should be done. Are you aware of this? Oh, yes, we're also aware of this. And during that press, briefing, it also leaves room for more questioning. Questions could be asked on different issues bordering on insecurity. And that's exactly what the CP did. He just touched on that, said they're investigating. That, in a way, gives us an understanding of where the story is headed, what is happening, but that's where it stops. And we've always said communication doesn't mean you have to divulge every single thing. That's what the IG has just said. When you use social media to talk about strategies, talk about what we're doing, it's you don't have to do that, but just give us an update on, oh yes, we received this story, we're on it, we're investigating, and we'll soon find solutions to that. But that's good. But it's quite sad to hear that. It also shows, you know, we've used this analogy here on this program before, Olugbenga, and we've said in a family of 5 where the first 2 sons go into the pot and still meet. And the parents tell them, don't do that again, no, I'll beat you, and they leave them. The third born sees nothing happen to them. He would go there, steal his, do the same, and the parents say, don't do that again, no. The fourth, it emboldens the fourth and the fifth. And that's exactly what we're seeing with insecurity. It's also part of the course. We've spoken to experts and they said, yes, I mean, they also allude to the fact that, listen, it's either you handle it with iron hand, in quotes, or you deal with it continually with kids' gloves, and that's exactly what the government needs to choose or decide what they want to do. We've heard of victory here and there in some parts of the country where they've been able to deal with the insurgents, but more needs to be done, and security agents agree with that. The president, in his speech again on June 12, made it clear that he's looking at recruiting 50,000 police officers. We do hear that the police officers that were called, the army rather, was looking to recruit soldiers, and it didn't turn out well in the northern region. A lot of persons didn't show up. That's what we heard. The report was yesterday shared, that people didn't show up to join the army. So let's wait and see. Hopefully we'll also get an update on the 50,000 police officers who have joined the police force to strengthen them, because like we hear as well, the police are stretched thin and they need to be indeed buffed up. But that's just what I think it is.
Well, I mean, again, just to mention that we would continue to follow up with this case. There really isn't much to say here because we don't want to start making speculations. There are those who are starting to make speculations because, of course, First Bank has had its issues, which has been, it has had some court and leadership issues for a while. But we don't have any connections and we don't have any links. It is when people hear things like this, you then begin to hear speculations of the grapevine, but we do not have any confirmed information from the police regarding who and who may be behind this. Another thing to point out is the fact that this happened within a high-brow area. If this happened within the Ikwerre environment, and you're wondering, Ikwerre that is typically a highly, I mean, that's where the creme de la creme in Nigeria, in Lagos,
the 1%,
or the 1% of the 1% in Lagos, and maybe Nigeria stay. And you're wondering about the level of insecurity, if that could be done there. And there are reports that there was a time gap between when this happened and when it was actually then confirmed by the police to the public. There was a huge time gap, and the question is what happened within that time. Have they yet been able to trace it? The CCTV cameras within Ikwerre, have they been able to look at these CCTV cameras to determine what may have happened? And, I really do hope that the police gets to the bottom of the case, because until they do, there won't be a sense of security around Mr. Adepoju, and we do not want to hear that things have gone out of control. And just to mention, I don't know that this is linked to, well, it can be. I wanted to say, I don't know if this is an independent action or if it's linked to the current state of insecurity. Because the truth is, with terrorists, what they try to do is plant fear. And the form of planting fear can take various forms. It can be personal, it can be groups, it can be sending threat letters to churches or whatever the case, as we've seen in recent times. So is he a group of persons? Is he a person? Are they working in silos? There are questions that we need answers.
It would form part of the police's investigation when they look into it and explore angles.
All right. I want us to take what Nigerians are saying. I do hope that after this, our producers have the video of the woman asking us to asking South Africa, Nigerians in South Africa.
The Nigerian Consul General.
Yeah.
The Consul General of Nigeria
to South Africa, thanking, President. Maurice Moye says, going forward, his security team should review all packages going to him. This definitely goes without saying. He's lucky it wasn't a letter bomb as it happened during the dark times of the military era. Very, very important there. No packages should get to him anymore. Who did the dispatch rider call? Who received the envelope from him? These are the questions that should be asked. Gabby Marine says in the next tweet we're looking at this morning. Okay, same tweet. Can we please skip to the next one? Now, I have been saying this to law enforcement. All dispatch bikes must be registered with a clear, visible plate number reflective, even in the dark. Please, Abdullah Gaidem says. And I agree with that, because if you receive, even when it comes to dispatch, I've, in my house, gotten a call that I had a delivery from someone. I needed to pay for the delivery. I paid for the delivery. Do you know that they are using delivery to do scam? Because I paid for the delivery, I got there. It was something I didn't order. Let's go back to the previous tweets, please. It was something I didn't order. It wasn't for me.
Did you realize?
At the point when I went to go and pick up.
But you had paid? I
had paid because I thought, somebody... I don't even know what I was thinking. I was under a lot of pressure. I'll come back to that. Kerek says, or Lyrexi says, sending someone 2 bullets in an envelope is wild. Yes, I agree with you. It's beyond wild. And in the next tweet, we have, don't worry, dispatch riders will now be forced to open the packages they deliver from henceforth. So that's a thin line. There are angles to this. If I order something, I don't necessarily want the delivery person to look inside. And you never can tell. In this era of surprise, I can be in my home and Joe and Benga would just be like, Olive has really worked extremely hard this month. We want to send her a care package. And then they send it. And you're thinking, you don't want to check. You want to be surprised. You don't want to nang.
Is your middle name Josephine by mistake? Because you like to dream a lot.
So, is our producers, are you saying that we can't share that video of our Consul General? Do we have it?
No, we don't have that.
Okay, I wish we had that video.
We'll look at that.
But let's share what our headlines this morning are. We will take that video before the show ends today. It's a very important video you must see. When you see the video, you will see why you should thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But let's share with you what the headlines are this morning. This morning on Breakfast Central, we're looking at our stories. Federal government moves to curb hoarding, market distortions of LPG, hydrogen economy. We're looking at stakeholders urging the federal government to target $50 billion market and away from the hydrogen economy. Faction accused Federal High Court judge, Labour Party on Justice Lifu's ruling, and Nigeria's informal security groups. We're looking at that and they're safeguarding, whether they're safeguards or they're threats. We're reviewing the newspaper front pages. Our guests will join us for this, and at that point, we'll open the phone lines. Stay with us for all these and more.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. The federal government has convened an emergency meeting with regulators, marketers and industry operators over rising cooking gas prices, warning that hoarding, product diversion, speculative storage and other market distortions may be driving costs beyond the reach of many Nigerians. With authorities projecting a supply gap in the coming months and deploying security agencies including the DSS, EFCC and police to support enforcement, the intervention highlights growing concerns over affordability and whether Nigeria's gas wealth is translating into cheaper energy for consumers. But here's what you should actually know. The average cost of refilling a 12.5 kg cylinder has risen to over 22,000 naira this year, with retail prices in many locations now ranging between 1,500 and 2,500 per kilogram. Now, NMDPRA says cooking gas should ordinarily sell between 1,018 naira or 1,244 naira per kilogram, raising questions about markups and inefficiencies within the supply chain. Joining us this morning to have more conversations on this and to look into it, we do have the National President, Patron, Dr. Billy Gillis-Harry, who joins us this morning. Thank you so much for making it this morning to speak with us on this issue. Can you quickly help us with the updates on what the federal government has done, calling security agencies to sit together and try to stop hoarding and diversion? I think the first question is there really hoarding of of the product as we speak this morning?
Thank you, News Central, for having me. Good morning, Nigeria. The federal government, clearly you can see, has stepped in. A few days ago, we had called for the government to step in and also assist in ensuring that we have products that are delivered from our receptacles, from our retail outlets, at affordable prices to Nigerians. The thing is what we receive, how we receive it, that we're going to sell from Petron's perspective. And Petron is totally committed to ensuring that everything about energy that's within our purview, we do the best we can to ensure that Nigerians have the best service. However, government has clearly taken very strong steps, as you can see, to see how any anomaly that is bringing about the high gas price is reduced. On our part, once we have products that is within that range of a maximum of 1,002 to 1,003, 1,005, we should be able to sell it. Yesterday in Port Harcourt, the product has come down, at least in most retail outlets that have gas, has come down to about 1,900, 809 naira, something like that. So it shows that the challenges we face in the Strait of Hormuz, that is gradually phasing out, with the hope and expectation that the Iran peace deal will be signed, will eventually trickle down and even impact our gas sector. As far as we are concerned, we do not hoard. Our products, our retail outlets are very in the open, and we give access to NMDPRA to work with us, weighted measures to work with us, and even the security agencies, because once there are going to be large crowds, we call on the beacon of the security agencies, civil defense, police mostly, and they respond to help us to make sure that crowds and lines are controlled. So we are doing as much as we can, but I believe that with that intervention meeting that the federal government has carried out through NMDPRA and appeal to the security agencies to further help, hopefully there will be more price reduction. And that is what we believe that Nigerians will soon enjoy.
Okay, the NMDPRA has said that LPG should be selling between 1,018 and 1,244 per kg, but consumers are paying significantly more. So where would you say, the missing links are? Where's the disconnect between the benchmark price and market reality?
That has happened simply because there was a supply shortage. Once there's supply shortage and so many retail outlet owners are pursuing to buy product from one source, and that source buys, they will now resell, then they will resell. By the time it gets to the smaller retail outlets, which is most of them are the gas cylinders on the street side, because the price will significantly increase. But with what the government is doing, and what we ourselves are also calling on the government to assist us to do, there is no telling that the price will shoot down, especially with imports of gas also going to be not affected so much by this issue that has happened in the Middle East. So in our own part, we are not hoarding. Petron is not hoarding, and Petron will not deliberately at any time do whatever that is going to create difficulty in the supply process or even in the distribution process. We commit to that and will continue to do that. So the only plausible reason is that when we cannot get gas from the sources we want, we normally get them directly, and then we have to depend on other sources, other second, third tier, fourth tier. The price will certainly increase, and that is what has happened. But I can assure you that we are working very closely with NMDPRA. We commit to that, and also with the Nigerian people to continue to provide services that are affordable, that will not tear the pocket of Nigerians. And that is our promise to Nigerians.
Nigerians are wondering, they're looking at the irony and the paradox that Nigeria is one of Africa's leading gas producers. We even flare gas. So why then are domestic consumers struggling with affordability and supply concerns despite the abundant gas resources we have as a country?
Even more gas than oil, from what the data has revealed. It's a matter of planning. Last few days, a few weeks, we had called on the government to expedite action on ensuring that our flared gases are reintroduced into our system for local operators to convert them into LPG and other gas derivatives. And that requires investment, it requires planning, it requires, I know that about 3-4 years ago, those flared gases were being delineated into special portions to be given to certain companies, and that did not happen. We would like to remind the government that that process was a good one and that it should continue. I believe that NDPRC is capable. We have a very capable lady that is handling that department, that commission, and I'm very certain that as a mother, she's passionate. She knows exactly what will be required to make Nigeria a better place. So some of these things, I believe they've started rolling into action, and in no distant time, results would come, and that will help us a great deal. I do not see why gas cannot even sell below 1,000 naira, if indeed we harness all the potentials that we have. But the reality is what we face. Would it be better that there is no gas availability within the neighborhood than for gas to sell at a little higher price? I believe that the higher price will still be a better option, temporarily, to ensure that Nigerians are fed. And for instance, in most of our operations, even the retail outlet space, we are dependent on LPG at this time to be able to fire our power system, our energy systems to run our pumps. Even in our homes, our offices, most of us are using LPG converted generators to run. So we believe that the government will do something about it, and we do encourage Nigerians to be patient, to give the government the opportunity to do. The president is doing a great job with his team, and we are there to give them the best support. So that's where I think we. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll wait and see. Maybe the prices will dock, they would come down, or maybe it will be a major crisis that Nigeria will eventually have to deal with. Since the president has had a closed-door meeting with security agencies, let's see what their presence will do. But thank you for joining us and clearing the air. Thank you so much. All right, let's tell you what's quickly coming up next here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, we'll take a look at security groups, safeguards or threats. That's what we're going to look at. AIMA rides for zero polio. We'll talk about that as well. and the SDP ends leadership crisis. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Nigeria's worsening insecurity issues have given rise to informal security outfits, often led by certain figures like OPC's Gani Adams and most recently the likes of Sunday Igboho. Now recently, Sunday Igboho issued a 2-hour ultimatum to herdsmen and to Fulani leaders in Oyo State, demanding the release of kidnapped school children and teachers, threatening to personally confront those responsible. While many residents hailed his boldness, security agencies dismissed claims that his intervention freed victims, warning that such actions risk inflaming ethnic tensions and undermining official rescue operations.
This reflects a broader dilemma. When state security is perceived as weak, communities turn to vigilantes. But these groups can quickly morph into parallel forces challenging state authority, as history shows that informal security groups, if unchecked, often evolve into militias with devastating consequences. In Democratic Republic of Congo, community vigilantes initially formed to protect villages from armed groups, but later became militias themselves, fueling cycles of violence and instability. Nigeria now faces a similar dilemma, but do these outfits serve as necessary safeguards in the face of state failure? Or do they threaten national cohesion by legitimizing extra-legal violence? Join us this morning to discuss this. We have security expert Dr. Wale Ojewale and global security analyst, MD, CEO, the Breeze Protection Services Limited, Dr. Dixon Osaje. But for now, we have only Dr. Ojewale. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Ojewale. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the latest security outfit that we've seen is called Iru Ekon. I guess that translates to the tail of the lion or the tiger. I'm not too sure. By Sunday Igboho. And many people are saying, look, since the government appears helpless in this situation and there's a gap, obvious gap in security in the country, shouldn't these informal outfits fill the gap? Do you think they're doing a job of filling the gap, or they are undermining state authority? What's your take on this?
Thank you so much, Benga, to your colleagues in the studio. I think this has to be treated as a double-edged sword, and it must be carefully navigated, considering some of the things that you alluded to that have happened in other countries, and which we have also seen in our own country. Yes, the challenge with this is that a lot of people listening to this program, maybe their family members, are probably in captivity in the den of the kidnappers now. And in such a desperate situation, there is little to what we can use to explain to them theoretically in terms of what is bad about this, because what people want is that they want to get results. They want to get their family members out of the captivity of the den of the kidnappers. And it wouldn't matter whether it is government, whether it is hunters, whether it is the police, whether it is the military, that help them to get that job done. But the other side of the sword is the fact that it achieves a temporary solution, but it has a very long-term consequence if the state should now pivot into such as a default setting for addressing security concerns in the community. In 2013, one Fulani man called Alhaji Ishe was killed in Dansadao local government of Zamfara State. And it was as a result of issues like this between vigilante group and the elders in those community. As a matter of fact, a historical antecedent shows that some people who actually joined banditry, who were recruited from Chad, from Mali, Tuareg, from the Central Sahel, Fulani people that joined banditry earlier, claim to be freedom fighters. So I'm drawing this parallel to say we can't default to this setting in which non-state armed groups now begin to exercise or maintain that strategic role of the state in terms of the absolute monopoly of violence. I think it's creating a fracture that we must not subscribe to as the authentic solution to the security crisis in the country now.
I mean, thank you very much for sharing that. I wanted to ask the role that these informal security outfits play. And now that we're talking about state police, how do we find that link between these informal outfits and state police?
Yes, there is a bit of a quasi relationship that has been created, and that is the reason why in Nigeria, for instance, we have the VGN, which is called the Vigilante Group of Nigeria. And if you follow the trajectory very well, they even made concerted efforts to receive a legislative backing. And I know that several times the appeals were being considered in previous NAS that we've had, maybe the 9th, the 8th, and even maybe the 7th Assembly. I used to work with the Commandant General in Abuja, so I'm privy to this, and I know listeners are familiar with Vigilante Group of Nigeria. The idea of that is to be able to streamline their operation and see how they can be integrated into the proper security structure, not as a recruit now, but as maybe providing some first layer intelligence that the police, the civil defense might be able to act upon. But in a situation in which we now have Ikwerre, we have Ibubeagu, we have all kinds all over the places, that is creating recipe for disaster. Indeed, they could have a role to play because insecurity is a local concern, and you need people who are familiar with the geography, the terrain, the history, the sociological, morphological explanation that anybody can provide about a given community. But to now have a situation in which people just started operating armed group networks, so to speak, in a manner that is not uniform in any way, like I mentioned earlier, is going to create a disaster like we have seen in other places, whether it is in Burkina Faso, whether it is in Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, and all these places that have had security concern. They have tried that. We have also tried that in many ways in Nigeria. And I think the reason why people are just clamoring for this is because of the perceived state failure that is staring everybody in the face now in terms of living up to that responsibility of protection and safety of lives and property, which is a fundamental objective of government. So there is a role, but that role must be streamlined. It must not be a free-for-all in which somebody wakes up tomorrow and says his own is Iruaja or whatever.
I mean, that's a fact. And I think you've spoken deeply about the concerns of Nigerians, and that's why here this morning we want to really look at it from that aspect, dissecting it to the better understanding of every Nigerian. We also have our second guest who's joined us, the MD CEO of the Breeze Protection Services, Dr. Dixon Osage. If you're there and you can hear us, I'd love to hear your take on what we're discussing. currently, we've looked at it from maybe from the Sahel region, we looked at it from the African aspect as well, and here in Nigeria. What's your take on the multiplicity of having different paramilitary arms, guiding, protecting our territorial districts to ensure that insecurity is stopped? Do you think it may in any way at any time snowball into becoming a threat, especially to Nigeria, if those in power don't take a stand?
Thank you for having me here as well. A lot of us have been clamoring for state policing. Some are yes for it, some are against. And I tell you, we are here, and we just have to see how we move on. Like you like to talk about the multi-dimensional security threat within the country, and also failure. Let me use the word failure, because according to Sir Robert Peace, the founder of modern-day policing, he said the absence of crime best prove the effectiveness of policing, military, soldiering, policing system. So there's a measurement, there's a criteria for you to measure effectiveness. It's not about shouting, oh, it should be, or moving around with arms and ammunition. He said about 200 years ago that the absence of crime best proved the effectiveness of policing system. So yes, our police officers are putting in their best, but we have a lot of structural deficiency, operational deficiency, tactical deficiency, motivational deficiency, societal deficiency as well, and as well that bettered most of this community or informal security organization, where you have the man over, you have the different funny names across board, and think they're trying to go and catch some witches and wizards. So for me, I think we need to harmonize these people, even though I strongly believe that in various estates, they have their own security design. And since we borrowed our constitution from America, we are now trying to look at state policing system. There's one effective component that's going to work if we have the state policing system, which is known as crime prevention through environmental design. Take, for example, Dolphin Estate. It's an environment. If you go there, there's a security design within Dolphin Estate. That's what we classify as crime prevention through environmental design. You go to Banana Island, you have something like that. So when you start having various security design within community, both natural design, architectural design, and as well physical design, you begin to see that security crime begins to diminish. So for me, most of these informal guards, security agencies, I think the state governors should still have to integrate them back to the state policing system if approved by the federal government, and ensure that they are well trained. Training is very important, because we all are crying about the inefficiency and deficiency of the federal policing system, the centralized policing system. So they must carry out what we call lesson learned. What are the lessons they're going to learn from the federal policing system? Who are fighting so hard to rebrand their image? The police is your friend, the police is your friend. They are trying to rebrand their image. So the state policing system, once they bring most of these guys on board, I would recommend effective training for them. A lot of training is going to be good for them, and as well, effective screening. So you don't bring in on board repentant terrorists or repentant criminals who the federal government have, brought back to the society to come and mess up society. So it's very sensitive, and we must see how we, manage it effectively, so that we don't have another deadly security network known as our state policing system. But let's bring it on board, because you cannot define a wife from the outside. Say, this girl is going to make a bad wife. The state policing system is our new wife. Let's bring the wife home and see if she's going to be a bad wife or a good wife. But there's going to be a disadvantage aspect of it, and also the positive aspect of it. The disadvantage aspect of it is people are saying that the state governors are going to abuse it. I agree. But let's look at the positive aspect of it and concentrate on it, which is going to really mitigate crime from various communities, if truly they have their allegiance to the people and not some certain politicians.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up from where you left off to say, yes, you say that there should be trainings and that we should find ways to incorporate this informal security sectors into the state police. But the question is, how do we ensure that you raise a very valid concern that we do not want to see the reintegrated terrorists being incorporated into these informal security outfits. But how do we ensure that these perpetrators of insecurity, the militia, are not also being recruited there? What sort of measures and guardrails can be put in place? Is training enough to ensure that that doesn't happen?
A background check and background screening kind of play. And I fear for the North, because it's impossible for you to tell me that they will not, introduce some militants, some ex-terrorists into their system. They're going to do that knowingly or unknowingly because they have pardoned some terrorists, and in their own belief, they might say that, okay, they pardon, then they come. If you're applying for a visa, for example, there's a column where you have been asked if you've been convicted of a crime before, have you been to prison, what is the nature of the crime, what went wrong, what happened. So for me, I think we should have an effective screening process whereby most of these guys coming on board, you need to vet them. And it's so sad that at the federal police system, we don't have, effective database that can, roll out names of criminals. You can just go to the system, put a name and say, Maxwell Design, XYZ, it will roll out all this crime history. We don't have those systems in place. And we are trying to bet state policing system. Good, but the state policing system should have effective data base whereby they start, capturing criminal incidents, criminal actors, threat domain and other crime mapping analysis incident, and ensure that they put the state to a state of peace. So for me, I strongly believe that screening is very essential so that because this your question is very important, and we must take that. I just advise that. Roll out that advisory to the National Assembly to ensure that screening is very important. Whoever has been, whoever has committed crime or lay an aggression against the state must never find its way into post-state policing system, because a criminal is always a criminal. It's an ideological driven mentality, but it takes the hand of God for you to say, okay, this guy has repented. So I tell you that screening is very important, and let's see how we screen them effectively before introducing them, employing them into the state policing system, so that they don't mess up the system. If they do, I tell you, we'll be heading to another part of the negative policing system outside the federal policing system.
Dr. Osage, let's bring Dr. Ojewale in Dakar back into the conversation. Now, Dr. Ojewale, yesterday the President did communicate the draft bill for state policing to the National Assembly, and quite a number of people are excited about this. My question to you is state policing the silver bullet to solve all Nigeria's insecurity problem? Do you think this is being rushed? And if the state policing was already being used, would it have prevented the attacks in Bokos that we witnessed 48 hours ago that led to the loss of about 25 lives?
The introduction of state police is not going to be a silver bullet that is going to ensure that all our security concerns will just dissipate immediately the state police is introduced. I think at best it can only augment the existing structure and perhaps maybe strengthen intelligence gathering at the local level. And because essentially crime prevention is now science and it's also sociological. You need to be able to deploy the necessary modern technology to be able to do that work. And at the same time, the officials that are doing the work must be grounded in the society in which they are meant to police. Is the government rushing it? Strangely, I received the bill about maybe an hour ago. And I've been following the news. I saw what the Senate President said, I think yesterday, that as they are considering the bill, the State Assembly are also going to be carrying out that concurrently. I think, one, it shows that the government is responding to the journeys of the majority of Nigeria. But my concern is just that due diligence is going to be applied to ensure that we dot the I's and we cross the T's, because the implication is that once it becomes a law, you've already provided a framework in which even if you want to make amendments, you have to wait for another cycle of constitutional amendments. So I wouldn't say maybe, I can't really say authoritatively now whether they are rushing it or not, but I just want to see a due diligence in operation in terms of how this process is going on. Now, to the more substantial issue, I think it should be about clarifying what I see going on in the public that makes it look like probably every state we have to mandatorily start operating state police immediately. I think it is at the prerogative of each of the states to assess their security concern and see how they can maybe take advantage of the state police force that is going to be created in those places to be able to respond to that. What I don't want to see is passing the current inefficiency and ineffectiveness of the current national police into the state police, because otherwise, if the recruitment is also in the same way in which it is who you know, and then there is really no adequate safeguards to be able to provide that security that we need now, that if it becomes politicized in the process, then we're really going to have an issue. And that is the reason why the legal framework that is going to undergird the setting up of the state police must be clear, must be transparent, and must be comprehensive enough to be able to address the general concern of the people, not just putting something into motion. And let us also say that already, every state in Nigeria already has a form of quasi-policing institution that is operating in those places. The one that you have in Lagos that is doing road traffic is a form of state police. And some of these ones that they've put together in the southwest and in the southeast, even in Kaduna, in Zamfara, Katsina, which they have some guards that have been trained by the state, is a form of state police. So we already have the architecture operating in some of those places. What we just need now is to be able to now provide the necessary national legal framework that we enhance their operationalization across the board.
To look at a big concern, and the concern simply is over time, even though we understand that the state will be responsible, the federal government is also responsible. We've seen different names like Ebubeagu, Civilian Joint Task Force. We've also seen names like, Amotekun and the likes. And then new ones are springing up just to ensure that they help beef up the security situation. While we're having this conversation, one of the major concerns is that these new vigilante groups and so on that are springing up, how are we going to merge them to work with the state police to ensure that everything runs smoothly? There won't be a situation or incidents where maybe the vigilante group will have to go to the back seat, and all of a sudden we hear that it's leading to insurgency, there are disagreements and so on. How should the federal government handle this to avoid any form of insecurity or escalating division from either of the security networks? I'm going to go to you, Dr. Jole, please.
Ensure that any vigilante group that will be operating in Nigeria should be subjected to the VGN, whether it is Igboho or some people in the southeast or in the south, Yansaka in the north. Any vigilante group that will be operating in Nigeria should operate within the umbrella of the vigilante group of Nigeria. The moment they do that, then any other entity, whether it is Iru, whatever, it must be outlawed completely. Because you must be able to streamline that community agency that is responding to security in the traditional indigenous way. So I think once that is clear, that is one box tick. The second thing is that I expect an efficient state police structure across the state. Therefore, it cannot be free for all. They will be doing intelligence work, they will be managing technology, managing drones, managing armament and all those things. What that means is that I am not too sure that the existing structure of the vigilante group of Nigeria is adequately equipped to be able to respond to that. So it is only the ones that will meet that standard that can be extracted from the existing community policing structure or vigilante structure that we're talking about here. And I know that some states are not going to struggle to be able to achieve this. For instance, look at Borno State. For over a decade, they have operated the civilian JTF. It should be very, very easy for a state like Borno to be able to operationalize this structure, integrating people that are competent within that structure into the state police structure. So I think it cannot be a loose guard or a free-for-all in which we just want to put everybody that have been working in one form of vigilante group before the enactment of the state police into the structure that is coming. It has to be carefully navigated at that level because, and I'm not saying this to disparage anyone, but I don't think everybody in that structure fit into the forthcoming state policing structure that will be seen across the country.
Now, I'd like to bring Mr. Osage back in, Dr. Osage back into the conversation as we wrap things up. One of the fears people have is when they look at other countries that have faced challenges of insecurity and they've seen the proliferation of this informal groups, they become they can end up as being private armies and militias. Examples abound in places like Democratic Republic of Congo, in Somalia, where you have the clans, and also Libya, especially in Benghazi, where you have different sorts of groups operating under the guise of providing some sorts of security or the other. What lessons can we learn from these other countries and also ensure that we prevent such from happening in Nigeria? Because a video emerged the other day of Sunday Igboho's Ikwerre. They were brandishing a pump-action machine, and as far as I'm concerned, it's only the state that has the responsibility to provide security as we speak. So under what authority did he do that, and how do we prevent such scenarios from playing out?
I think the problem at hand is that we are not organized. We are not properly organized, but properly. They're not properly organized. That's why you see a lot of people taking laws into their hands, and you also see a lot of people rolling out strength because they also believe that Nigeria is a location whereby you can commit crime and go scot-free, and as well emphasize on various fora that crime and punishment goes hand in hand. So if you have punitive measures in place, crime will not flourish within our given society. So for me, if you want to ask me what lessons we're going to learn from the global space where you have various security networks, I think we should have an effective leadership and command structure in place to ensure that these guys don't go on board. And I also fear in some part of the country, I don't want to be ethnocentric or I don't want to regionalize my assessment or analysis, but I fear for some part of the country, our country, the north precisely where you already have banditry and terrorism, and these guys have engulfed the society and as well integrated, have their men on board even within our federal and our federal system and also a security system. So it's going to be very sensitive because while we are planning, I tell you, the Boko Haram, the terrorists, the insurgents, they are also planning on how they can also enlist their men into the state security design and see how they can capture it. Because I also fear for state capture. If we don't have an effective legal framework that's going to, design or underline or roll out the responsibility of state police and federal police system so they don't clash, we're going to be having what we call battle for supremacy, whereby the federal police system will say we are federal, the state will say we are state. So there must be a legal framework that will address supremacy or battle of supremacy so that we don't have a situation where the police system, state police system and the federal police system begins to clash. Then in the area of this localized or community police system, because I see these vigilante groups as community policing system, because we have the community policing system, the state policing system, then the federal policing system. Every person you see on the road that is, controlling traffic, like the last week I talked about, they form a systematic intelligence network. And that's why most times if you travel abroad or some part of the world, you see some guys on bicycle, rolling that bicycle. You think they're exercising. No, a lot of them are getting intelligence, getting information for the state policing or the community policing design. So for us to get it right, I would like to advise that the lawmakers should draw a line, an effective framework that will ensure that any person coming on board or those people coming on board must be well screened and vetted, properly screened and vetted. If you want to apply for visa, for example, they will ask you, have you been to prison before? Have you been convicted of the crime? So those vetting process is very important. When I joined the military 29 years ago, I was so sad I saw a lot of lists Then you see the Emir of XYZ list, Emir of so list, Agile list. A lot of people sending lists to the military to enlist their people. And if we keep if we introduce this into the state policing system, it's going to be very bad because a lot of people will now send in terrorists because you want to obey him because an emir is the Oni or is the Oba of XYZ location. So we must eliminate special recruitment. It's called special recruitment. It must be eliminated. So you don't bring a negative pool, but everybody must pass through the screening system, and we should also ensure that those who abuse the system are well punished and also, sentenced, because our punitive measures in this country is very disturbing. You have those who kill our officers and men. My younger brother was shot in Borno in 2014 when they went for rescue mission in Chibok. Thank God he survived. And later on, I saw those people who attended, who almost killed him, being pardoned and being forgiven. Nigeria is seriously a joke when it comes to crime and punishment. But I wish Nigeria well, and we must get it right and also ensure that those who commit crime against the state must be punished. If you don't do that, crime keep on flourishing. That's why you see kidnapping is spreading, because somebody sometime 10 years ago kidnapped somebody and today is still in prison. Nothing has happened to him, and people believe that Nigeria is a vulnerable place for you to come and kidnap at will and go at will because it has been commercialized. Insecurity has been commercialized, banditry has been commercialized, and I tell you, if we don't start rolling out death penalty to these guys, publicly executing these guys, and ensure that nobody is forgiven, or whoever commits a crime against the state is well punished, my brother, I tell you, will still be rolling on the line of truth. But God forbid, the state policing system should get it right and ensure that their tactical composition is very effective. Like you talk about Ogboho rolling out a pump action, that is a suicide mission. These guys are carrying 24th century MGs, 24th century arms and ammunition that can even bring down an helicopter or a plane. So arms and ammunition is very important, and accountability as well is very important. Training is also important. Vetting is also important. Command structure is also important for the state policing system. Then the state police commission must have a board system that can approve a state commissioner of police, examine the state commissioner of police, let him pass through screening, and they now submit to the state governor for approval. State governor passes to the National Assembly for approval. Not having governors and pick their own people. If you give them that opportunity to pick their people, we'll be heading on a state capture, and most states will start having their own state militia, which is going to be disturbing because our political space has been messed up. These guys are not loyal to the people. They're just loyal to themselves and their families. So it's a sad situation for us as of now.
I mean, you've touched on a lot. I wish we had more time to expand, but because we do not have time. I'm also happy that Dr. Jawale says he just laid his hands on the document. I hope I'm correct. I hope I heard you correctly when you said that. So it means you'll be going through the document to ensure that you understand what the state policing will look like. This means that in the future, or maybe in nearest possible future, we'll have to invite you back so we can analyze the state police, the details, and how it would benefit Nigerians. But before we let you gentlemen go, I just have one more question before Olive also takes hers. My question would be to you, Dr. Jawale. We've seen forest guards. The president has said he was going to mobilize them. So how do you think the forest guards will help in protecting our territories? Because what we're talking about now is state police. And state police is that we're looking at the states. But what about the territories, the cross-border territories, the which
national
links
parks.
to national parks, exactly, into another country? Do you think the forest guards are able to do that? Or should the state police, in conjunction with the security networks, push further to also ensure security on the borders?
As long as everybody is working in sync, the fundamental objective is national security, and everyone will have a role to play. So it's very good that we're also talking about forest guards, because I believe those ungoverned spaces have been left to criminals over the years. And that is the reason why they've been able to colonize those places, whether it is in Kashina, Samfara, or even hold Oyo National Park that is now a security threat. So what I think is very, very important is that we also need to develop a security framework that is 21st century compliant. There is a lot that can be achieved if we also deploy technology now. So if you are deploying 1,000 forest guards to a state, for instance, also plan for technological infusion of drones, unmanned area vehicles that will be able to help to actually analyze those forest environments, pick strategic point that you might need to analyze for security reasons. So we need to know that security has pivoted from the 1990s Cold War experience of security into modern armaments that even the criminals are now deploying now. So while the forest guard are able to comb those forests, then they are also supported by the modern technology that is able to aid their work. And this is not a time for a president or a governor to be saying they are spending 7 billion naira, like one state in the Southwest mentioned that they have acquired a particular fighter jet that when they now came to abduct children in Owerri local government, we don't see that aircraft, it has never delivered any advantage. So we must also ensure that while we are procuring technology, we do not take the people for granted in terms of public expenditure by buying things that might not actually be useful for the security concerns that we're addressing. What I think would be very fundamental is intelligence gathering that is going to enable security forces to be able to respond to those issues, not only as an afterthought, but proactively, even before the crime is committed at all. So forest guard deployment with technology, with state police, with existing military structure, I think Nigeria is on the right path if we are just going to manage the process very well. But I must commend the government in the past few months in terms of what they have been putting in place to ensure that there is safety of life and property in Nigeria. I think that is commendable. We must not lose sight of that.
I want to follow up on that question, the one that my colleague asked about the forest guards. Just to clarify, because at the time when the kidnappings in Oyo were announced on the 15th of March, in the early hours of the 15th of March, of May rather, the president's response to that was the deployment of forest guards. Now the question is, regarding the forest guards, is there an expectation that their service and their work is, at this point, I can't call it proactive because the kidnapping has happened. So are we expecting them, the scope of their work to include insecurity situations that have already occurred pre them being disposed or being sent to Oyo State?
Definitely. I think what is happening is that once you are in a desperate situation like this, you apply every tool that is at your disposal. Now we have a situation at hand that they are trying to unravel. But the fundamental work that they need to do is to ensure that such security breaches don't happen again, even while they are supporting the military, supporting the police in unraveling the present situation. Nigeria has vast forests from Kanji to Oyo Park to Zamfara and all those places where they are completely ungoverned. The state is missing, the government is not there at all. And I think it is that vacuum that these forest guards are going to help us to fill now. But it must also be stressed again that, like earlier speaker mentioned, these is not the days of pump action and double barrel. These are the days in which modern military armament must be deployed. So they must be adequately equipped and supported to be able to do their work, not just hand the sticks and catapults to them.
Finally, Dr. Osage, as we wrap up our conversation here, Katsina State Governor Diko Rada renewed his appeal to bandits operating in the Northwest Forest to lay down their weapons and embrace peace. He described them as his brothers and sisters and assured them that the government doors are open for dialogue, repentance, and reintegration. He says it remains open. As an ex-service personnel and one who has lost brothers in arms to these same very terrorists, what does this do to the morale of current serving officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces? What do you make of this?
Well, it's disturbing because sometime 9 years ago, when the Katsina State Governor went to the forest to, take a selfie with this criminal, I knew that that state is doomed for destruction because they didn't manage the situation from inception. So for me, I think asking them to lay down their arms and ammunition and also believing that they are their brothers and sisters, well, I don't think they are my own brothers and sisters. My brother will not kill me, my sister will not kill me, and I won't be in a situation whereby you bring people who have, eliminated military generals, military officers, and you are saying that they are your brothers and sisters. What you have done is that you have, don't go on, see that.
All right.
Oh dear.
Gentlemen, it would seem that we've lost the audio, but we have to wrap up the conversation at this point. Dr. Wale Ojewale and Dr. Dixon Osaje, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. I would look forward to having another conversation with you again. We're on a very quick break now, and when we come back, we have more to look at this morning, so please stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. And now let's bring you an update on the Nigerian government's ongoing efforts to repatriate its citizens from South Africa following recent anti-migrant violence. The Nigerian government has stated its commitment to ensuring the safety of its citizens abroad. Meanwhile, the first batch of Nigerians arrived back in Nigeria weeks ago, and efforts to evacuate more are currently on the way. Joining us this morning to discuss this development is the Nigerian acting ambassador to South Africa, Ambassador Temitope Ajayi. Thank you very much, Ambassador Temitope Ajayi, for joining us this morning. We'd like you to speak to us regarding the efforts being made by the Nigerian government to evacuate its citizens, because what we see on social media are reports of people who are accusing the government of leaving Nigerian citizens stranded in South Africa.
Thank you very much. Let me first correct an impression that Nigerian government has neglected.
Ambassador Ajayi, are you there?
Remain focused in terms of this. As you mentioned in your first line, that you have seen the delivery of the first batch of the evacuees. The same thing is going on with the second batch. And as we constantly, on record, that there are a few little operational challenges that are, on the way of delivering on the second one, and we've almost getting to the end of it. We are going to ensure that we deliver on all everybody that have expressed interest in going back to Nigeria. We are going to make sure that everybody return home safely without any harm. And that is what we remain focused in doing. We prioritize the welfare of Nigeria. We prioritize their safety in this process. And that is what you see us taking it quite systematically and very logically.
Now, Ambassador, you did mention some challenges that has been faced in repatriating Nigerians back to their motherland. But the vigilante and anti-migrant groups in South Africa have given a deadline of the 30th of June for all migrants to leave South Africa. Yesterday, I stumbled upon a voice note. It was sent to me by a friend who's a resident in the Republic of South Africa. And a lot of Nigerians are scared. Can you give a guarantee that the remaining batch of Nigerians that are yet to be evacuated that they will be airlifted to Nigeria in the next 6 days before this ultimatum expires?
If you take it, let's take it from what our foreign mentioned last week to the press when she was facing the press. She mentioned, and that was very key in this whole process, that no Nigerian will be left behind, in this process, and that government is committed to ensuring that all Nigerians are taken safely back home before the 30th. And I must correct something on the issue of the ultimatum. The ultimatum was given by extra-state actors, if I should call them like that, by vigilante groups, not by the government of South Africa. And the president of South Africa has come out to say that ultimatum was not given by them, and they don't recognize that, and that people should not, should go about their businesses without fear of molestation. So that remains one of our strengths in terms of believing in government. So these are vigilante groups, as you call them. They are the one, no group is greater than government. And the government has come up They have assured us within the diplomatic community, they have assured us everywhere that that 30th day is not issued by government, and we should not recognize that. But that's beside the way. I mean, that's by the way. In terms of the evacuation, we remain focused, and we are going to deliver everybody to Nigeria before the due date.
Did you say, and although you said that Nigerians in South Africa should not heed to the statements made by the vigilante groups, but they're saying that that's not the case. We did see footage and videos from Nigerians in South Africa who are even more afraid for their lives compared to coming back as soon as possible. They just want to be safe. So are you saying that we may elapse the deadline? Or are you confirming to us this morning that Nigerians will be airlifted and will be repatriated back before the deadline? Where do we stand? Let's quickly understand that, Ambassador Jai.
Nigerians are Nigerians, those who have expressed interest in going, will be repatriated back to Nigeria as soon as possible. They have already, everybody, all the news carried it, and we are on course. We remain on course. You understand? We remain focused on this process in delivery, on successful delivery of this operation, and that is what I'm confirming to you this morning. That Nigerians, all the willing Nigerians who have expressed interest in going back to Nigeria, will be safely delivered to Nigeria as soon as possible. And what I'm saying with regard to the ultimatum is that you are amplifying the echoes. You are echoing what extra-state actors are saying more than what the government of South Africa is saying. That is what I'm saying, and that's what I'm trying to correct. That you are saying 30th, everybody should leave or something. I said that ultimatum was not issued by the South African government. And South African government has ultimate, duty and responsibility to protect every life and properties that's found within their territories. And they have assured us of that. So, but in terms of what we are doing, we remain focused on what we are doing. We remain focused on getting our people home as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, and that is what we are doing.
On that question, I mean, you're saying that we're amplifying the voices of the vigilante group. But we do understand that the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, had a State of the Nation address where he had talked about ensuring that calm and normalcy is brought forth. But we want to confirm from you, because it's a different case we're having here, it's a different scenario. The vigilantes are talking, the president has spoken haphazardly, like some have said. Is there any communique between your office as an acting ambassador in South Africa and the South African authority that has guaranteed the safety of Nigerians, regardless of if that time elapses? It's more than 30th of this month. Is there a guarantee? Because that's what we want to really note.
Thank you very much. You see, we've had a series of meetings with the South African government. We've had a series of meetings with the South African government. They've called the African Diplomatic Group, which made up of a group of ambassadors, and they've assured us in that meeting that no harm will be visited on any of our nationals after the 30th May. And they are the one that gave us the assurance that 30th May was not issued. That ultimatum was not issued by them. And they have told us to assure our government back home that no harm will be visited on our national after their 30th May. So, and they said they are going to put everything in place in time. That is the assurance they gave to us. And when the government gave you an assurance, you are bound to believe the assurance. You want us to believe what the vigilantes are saying. But I said, apart from that, we are not even resting on our hours. We are all Nigerians, based on the directive of Mr. President, who have expressed willingness in going to Nigeria and deliver home safe. You understand, in terms of making sure they get home as quickly and that is why I have to reference what my foreign minister mentioned last week. So I think that is enough assurance to tell Nigerians. And as at date, as I speak to you, no Nigerian, any Nigerian who is maybe one way or the other under threat or maybe has expressed some fear, we have prioritized their safety. You understand? In terms of quickly responding to that and making sure that they are well protected.
Now, Ambassador Ajayi, thank you for confirming your interactions with South African authorities, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. But many have feared that, it's one thing for government to say something, but the reality on ground is different. And that brings me to this question. The federal government has formally demanded transparent investigations into the death of 2 Nigerian citizens who sustained fatal injuries while in South African police custody. They're Nemeka Matthew Andrew Epeyong. He died on the 21st of April 2026 after allegedly being injured by South African National Defence Force. And also Kevin Chidebere Ramiro, he died on April 25th, 2026. Are there any updates on the investigations with regards to this 2 Nigerian nationals?
Thank you very much. We took that matter up with the South African government at the highest level, and we have submitted the case file and everything. And they've set up an investigative panel, according to them, because the matter involved the security forces. You understand? Because it was, just as you said, it was why these people were interfacing with the security forces that unfortunate incident happened. We took it up immediately, and we've submitted all the necessary details about them, which they requested from us. We did.
Well, we're hoping the network will afford us the opportunity and time to really dissect this very
important
conversation, Benga, Olive. We hope we can reconnect with Acting Ambassador to South Africa.
This remains our channel of engagement with them. And they told us those police that were found that are culpable, any police found culpable in this matter will be prosecuted. So we are waiting for them to release the result of that, the first line of investigation, so that we take it off from there. Because we are going to we have said it for up to time, that we will make sure that this matter is followed to the logical conclusion, and that justice is not done, but is done properly in this matter.
All right, we'll continue to follow up with this to see what the next steps are. But for Nigerians in South Africa who would like to be repatriated, who would like to come back home, rather, because they've, of course, facing these issues with the South African population, what steps should they take? What is the current reality? And for those who are waiting to be brought back home, what is their current reality like? And for those who would like to join them in the wait, is there a process they have to go through?
Let me first start by saying that we started this screening process. There are processes in terms of the screening and profiling of the people that will be coming to Nigeria. And all the missions, all the embassies that are also involved in this, let me say all the countries that are also involved in this, we are doing it in conjunction with the relevant South African agencies. And that's what we do. That's what we are also following up with. That's what we are doing. We started this process on the 4th of June, and we extended the screening period 3 times. We call on all Nigerians to come willingly and register. And we didn't discriminate against anybody. Anybody who showed up at the gate of the mission were registered. And we tried our best to ensure that they did not come under any harm whatsoever. You understand? So that stages, we've completed the screening in terms of the screening stages. We've gotten well over 1,000. Out of the 1,000, we have delivered 258 back to Nigeria. So we are still talking in the range. But of course, the screening process cannot go on, endlessly. So we've closed the screening process about a week or plus ago. You understand? What we are taking now are those people that maybe they finish one stage of the screening and they have not completed the last stages. So that is what we are taking them. And it comes with a cost, because we have to also ensure that the The officials of the home government are present. The officials of the police present. The immigration are present, so that we can do it in conjunction with them and facilitate the smooth delivery of the process. That's what we are doing right now. So the rest that are remaining will be, the next stage is to deliver them to Nigeria. That's just the next stage that's ready, and that's what will remain on course.
And when are we expecting the next batch of Nigerians to return to the nation? Because there's still quite a lot that haven't been repatriated since that first batch arrived.
Thank you very much. The next batch will be in Lagos very soon in terms of their time of arrival.
Can you give us a timeline, Mr. Ambassador?
Within this whole process, we are also delivering in batches in terms of also ensuring that people get home as quickly as possible. So just be on the lookout. Very soon you will see many people arrive in Lagos. You know, we are finalizing their flight arrangement and everything. So you will see.
Ambassador, just to mention quickly, there are some South African nationals who are married to Nigerians. Just this week, they also came out in protest to make clear that they will not want to leave without their husbands. I don't know if you can hear me, but if you can hear me, my question simply is,
I can hear you.
There are a few Nigerians who may not want to repatriate for best reasons that they are now South Africans and they are married to South Africans. So in that situation where Nigerians are not willing to come back home, but they've approached your office, what plans do you have for such ones in terms of speaking with them and also speaking with the South African governments to ensure that their lives are protected? Is there any window for such conversation, or is there any opening for such conversations to be had?
Yeah, thank you. I think your question is in two ways. If I understand you very well, you mentioned that those who are married to South Africans and willing to come back to Nigeria. Been going on, and it's still over those matter, over those kind of categories, people that fall within that categories of contestation. For those who are married to South Africans, who are South African children, who their wives are South African, we've reached agreement with the government, that those one will be processed through, if they are willing to come to Nigeria, if they are willing to go, those one will be processed through normal visa issuance. We will issue visa to them normally as to their children, normally as because the South African authority have told us that they don't repatriate, particularly if somebody is married to a South African wife or you are married to a South African husband, that they will not allow the children within that context to be repatriated. It has to be in agreement. So what we agreed was that we will facilitate visas for such people whenever they approach us. But they have to approach us. They have to come in and say, okay, we want to go to Nigeria, we want to go and visit our parents or our relatives in Nigeria, then we will expedite visa. One way or the other, do not want to go, want to stay behind, yes. We have been talking to the government, and we've gotten a series of assurances that no harm will be visited on anybody. In fact, let me tell you one thing. As at Monday, I spoke extensively with the South African Deputy Minister of International Relations, who was on phone with me, and part of the thing we discussed was even concerned this category of people. And they were willing. They said, no, anybody who is living in South Africa legally, who has businesses, has nothing to fear. You understand? That is why I said when I was talking that we believe in the government commitment assurances to us. You understand? There's nobody that could somebody in the top echelon of the foreign ministry. You understand? They have given us assurance as we speak, as I'm talking to you now. We have many Nigerian businesses that are open. Those ones that are doing one business or the other, their business will not come under harm based on the assurances given to us by the South African government. And we tend to believe that assurance until we see something otherwise.
All right. I want to say thank you so much for speaking with us, the Acting High Commissioner, as well as one who has spoken about this issue, talking about South African Ambassador Alexander Temitope Ajayi. Thank you so much for spending time to clarify these issues and to highlight on the many challenges and what to expect.
Thank you.
We hope to speak to you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at another very interesting issue to discuss here on Breakfast Central. Stay with us.
Every year, millions of children around the world are protected from polio through vaccination, bringing the world closer to eliminating a disease that once left thousands paralyzed. While significant progress has been made, efforts to reach every child continue, particularly in vulnerable communities. One Nigerian is taking that message across continents in a very unique way. Olatunji Emmanuel Okede is currently on a transcontinental motorcycle expedition from the United Kingdom to Nigeria under the hashtag Ima Rights for Zero Polio campaign, using the journey to raise awareness and funds for global polio eradication efforts. Having recently crossed into West Africa and begun the African leg of his journey, he joins us virtually to share his experiences on the road, the challenges he has faced, the impact of the campaign so far, and what his remarkable adventure has taught him about people, culture, and Africa's connectivity. He's traveling around the continent with a bike, a motorbike. And today, last time he joined us last week,
he was in Mauritania.
Yes, he was in Mauritania. He was by the beach, the waves did not allow us to converse properly. Hopefully he's not by the water today. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Where in the world are you at the moment?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm currently in Guinea-Bissau. I came in yesterday midnight. No, not yesterday. I came in around 4:30 a.m. this morning, all the way from Gambia.
Wow. I know that the last time you joined us was your birthday. How was the remainder of the celebration that day?
Well, I want to appreciate everyone who has reached out to me on social media, people who have made phone calls, people who have donated as well. I've seen a couple of friends and family who donated as well. A couple of the people who I don't know as well donated as well, using that as a birthday gift to me. I really appreciate that. So that's really make my day. So I'm pleased, but we still need more. Thank you.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning now. For those who were not privileged enough to join our last interview, take us back to the beginning about what has inspired you to embark on this journey with the motorcycle from the United Kingdom to Nigeria in support of polio eradication.
So in terms of the inspiration, I grew up in my parents, my dad of blessed memory, he was an ambulance driver for hospital in under Oyo State, and we live in hospital quarters. So that gave me the opportunity to see some of the people who comes into the hospital for treatment. Being able to see children that have got polio, children that their limbs were removed, they lost their arm or leg, or some of the children died because they did not take vaccination at the time. And my dad usually also drive out with the ambulance, and they go to the local villages to go and campaign about polio and for children to be vaccinated. So that stuck with me. And then I joined Rotary as well, and I learned from Rotary as well. It's been a forefront of Rotary International, and this has been going on for many years as well with United Nations. So it's been what I learned, what I had, and what I've learned while growing up, and then I joined Rotary, and it's been part of me, and that's has stayed with me. And I was looking forward for one day when I'll be able to raise a campaign and also to raise some money to support children for the vaccination as well, and that's what has brought about this campaign as well. Thank you.
Okay. You've now entered West Africa, and you started the African expedition. How significant is this milestone for you, especially looking at the language barrier? How are you coping with that? I was also thinking in my head, aside from the language barrier, you're also faced with the currency, exchange rates, and so on. How are you coping? People are asking, how is he buying fuel?
Okay, so in terms of the language barrier, I mean, most of the African countries that I came in through, most of them speak French, and unfortunately, I can't speak French. I haven't learned how to speak French, and I think that's one of the things I need to take on as well. Most of them, across from even from Morocco, people speak French. Mauritania, people speak French. And then you cut across to Sierra Leone, Gambia, everybody, most of them actually speak French. And also, I mean, Guinea-Bissau, they also speak French, and some are asking whether I speak Portuguese or what have you. So, but I've been able to use my hand gesture on one or two occasions. I've seen somebody who also speak a little bit of English, and then we manage to get what I need to get as well. And in terms of currency, usually when I get at the border, there's always somebody at the border who wants to change money. So I use my phone to look at what the exchange rate is saying, so that I don't want to lose money as well. So when I look at the exchange rate online, and I use that as my negotiation tools to negotiate with them. And that's how I've been able to do that. And at filling station, I just got in there. Ask them to fill my tank, and I look at the meter, look at how much is showing on the meter, and then make the payment. So that's been able to, but in terms of the language has been very, one of the challenging, and that's one of the things that affected me yesterday as well. And that's why I get to my hotel at 12:30 a.m. this morning, because I couldn't speak the language. They were describing a lot of places for me where I could, but I didn't get the direction.
Now, Captain Okedi, you still have quite a lot to go. I wish we had a map of Africa and an interactive map, so you can pinpoint where you are at this moment. But you've been to quite a number of countries, like my colleague said. Last time we spoke, you were in Nouakchott, you've been to Gambia, I think you've been to Senegal, and you're currently in Guinea-Bissau. How, if you could put a percentage on it, how much percent of your journey has been covered, and where's your final destination? And also, just to share, I know this is a tough one, because I can imagine, just from viewing you in Nouakchott, the last time we spoke, the Atlantic Ocean in the background, we saw how picturesque it's been. What have been some of the most memorable moments you've experienced and encounters you've experienced since setting off? So there's a long list.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Currently, I'm in Guinea-Bissau. I'm moving towards the West African coast, and from here, I'll be moving to. I'm moving towards Ghana from here. I think I still have one more country to get into before getting to Ghana. So that's. I've covered about, I believe about 8 or 9 countries already has been covered, and I think I still have 4 or 5 more countries to cover for me to reach Nigeria. And in terms of the challenges, yes, the challenges have been persistent. Now we are in the rainy season in West Africa, so day before yesterday when I entered Gambia. The rain poured heavily on me during the journey. I couldn't find anywhere to pass. So I started to ride in the rain. Although my jacket actually was dirty. I mean, because I came through the border of Gambia to Senegal. So the border was very bad. It was a bad road as well. So my road cloth was dusty. So I just decided I'm going to ride it through the rain. And then in the process, when I ran through a very ditch water, I was thinking I'm going to lose my bike in the water. So, as good we have it, the exhaust pipe is at the top, and also my radiator. The radiator aspect is also on the top, so I was able to come out through the mud.
Wow!
It was a terrible experience, but I was grateful that the bike is still up and running. And yesterday as well is another experience for me, which is very. I left thinking I'm going to get to the hotel I was thinking I'm going to get to because I don't like riding at night. I like parking at around 6 o'clock in the evening. But unfortunately, when I got to the hotel, it's not where I have to park my bike. My bike can be vandalized before the daybreak. So I have to continue my journey. It's either I stay there and I couldn't get for almost 2 or 3 hours. I couldn't get any hotel nearby, so I have to drive into Bissau, which is the capital, which is where I am now. I came here like 12:30 a.m. tired, exhausted. Yesterday, this morning, and I managed to get somewhere which is safe for me to park my bike and also for me to have a restful night. So so it's been challenging, but we still have it at the back of my mind, the purpose of why I'm embarking on this journey, and that's what keeps me going.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We wish you a safe journey for the rest of your travels. And just as we wrap up, how do people be a part of the cause? How do they join in raising funds for polio?
Yes, we've got a GoFundMe account, which is on Ima Rights on our handles. We've got Ima Rights for Zero Polio on our handle, both Facebook, Instagram, X, or any of the Twitter, and also YouTube. If you can just go on Ima Rights for Zero Polio, you'll be able to find our account details and Naira account. There's also GoFundMe account where people can make their donation. And we really, really need your donation so that we could provide this vaccination for children from 0 to 5, which is very important. And like I said before, Bill Gates and Belinda Gates, we also be matching whatever we've raised. If we raise £100,000, that will be double. That will be £200,000, and we can vaccinate. We can immunize 50,000 children. That's what our target is like, and we are hoping that people will continue to do that. And you can follow us on our handles as well. You see some of my journey as well on YouTube and on Facebook as well. And I give all updates, daily updates as well, in terms of what the journey is like as well. So you can follow us on all our social media.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You have our best wishes. We look forward to hosting you in our studio after your triumphant entry to Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay safe. All right. Very interesting conversation there.
Do you know how to ride a bike? Not bicycle.
Bicycle. I'm very good with
I can ride a bicycle.
500cc upwards.
See?
Like, have you seen his bike?
I don't do anything less than 800cc.
There's nothing like that. Means you're already riding helicopter. There's nothing like 800cc.
600cc.
Okay, so
I don't know if there's 800cc, but I know 600cc.
How do you change gears on a bike?
Vroom, vroom.
How do you change it? How do you change gears?
You are lying on national TV.
No, Olive. If you go to the streets of Asaba, there was one young girl who was used to driving that small bike. That's how I know they change the gear with the leg. I know, and pick up some
lady bike.
Upa. Some fresh.
It's not Uber, it's Okpa.
Okpa.
That was a life.
No,
that was a life Olive was living before we brought her.
Before we brought her to. I mean, come on.
Thank you for exposing
back
me.
then, Gouache.
Now you have brought me back to your Lagos, where they are increasing house rent every 2 months.
And then
the center of Saint Toby. We'll go on a quick break before we get into trouble. And when
I will not get into trouble with you. I'm covered with the blood.
Newspaper headlines. So stay with us. Breakfast Central continues shortly. You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's time for us to look at the newspaper front pages. Don't mind my colleagues here. They are very
Can you share with our
distracting.
incredible audience that have become a family with us what we're saying off camera?
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
This is not Vegas. This is Lagos.
They should pay pay-per-view to see behind the scenes of what happens. You know, News Central, I'm giving News Central management ideas. They can do a reality show on a strategy, yes, on Breakfast Central, what happens behind the scenes. But I believe we have about 10, 20 more minutes to go to look at the newspapers before we wrap things up here. So let's make the best use of the little time we have. Let's make hay while the sun shines. Let us hurry up because generator, only generator at any time.
He didn't say it well.
There's a backstory to that, though. Yeah, during the Jonathan presidency, there was, I think Oliver and I worked in the same organization, and we used to boast that we're the only station that still had power that was on air. The full scarcity was so bad and terrible that stations were rationing. Some even went off air. Yeah. And I remember somebody said it was in church, and you know, on Sunday service they had to rush things. It's part of the choir because choir master and pay cut. Let's hurry up and do this praise and worship because only per generator at any time. but times only daku at any time. But times have changed. We are now living in times of renewed hope when fuel scarcity is a thing of the past. It's just that fuel is gold now. It's very expensive. Yeah. Even to put on radio now is adding me, my sister. To even use AC, I'm minimizing it.
So you're winding down.
I'm winding down.
This is not good for you anyway. If natural breeze is encouraged, go and sit down and receive fresh air. Well, this is not Comedy Central. This is Breakfast Central, and this is newspaper review segment.
It's not your Friday.
Call in. Put the numbers on the screen, please. Let them start calling in.
The numbers to call on your TV screen, so please feel free to call in and share your thoughts on the papers, the story on the front pages of the papers. You are our analyst today. You can also head to YouTube where we're streaming live via News Central TV Live to drop a comment about any of the top stories. Let's start with Al Jazeera, Joe.
First story there, alleged phone interception at the top. El-Rufai opts for no case submission as DSS closes case. That's one of the first stories. After reps, Senate to pass state police bill today. So today is a big day. Nigerians, keep your ears to the floor or to the ground, like they say. Akpabio urges broad support to secure passage. Our guest John initially said he's gotten hold of the document. I can tell you that a huge percentage of Nigerians don't have an idea of what is contained in that document, but we're waiting.
They say, the devil is in the details.
Yes, let's wait to see what is contained in that document. Don't forget, it's a democracy, so there would always be amendments that will happen as we progress. A federal government unveils model PPP agreement to accelerate infrastructure development. Page 6. Nigeria must unite against insecurity. Abdulsalam Abubakar says. Page 15. Insecurity, IGP urges stronger police community partnership, intelligence sharing. We can say, whether we like it or not, that since the IG, got into the fray, it's no longer business as usual. We're starting to see a lot of, strong punitive measures being put in place, and we hope that this would yield positive results. CSOs decry rising political violence in Osun State. UK Defense Chief visits Maiduguri to strengthen cooperation with Nigeria. That's another story that you'd find on the front page of Al Jazeera.
Let's hope that cooperation does yield results. And,
that's another one.
We see the difference on the ground.
That's another one. On page 2, Oyebanji, deputy, received certificate of return from INEC, of course, from the elections that was held this past weekend. And what we have there on the front page of Al Jazeera midweek, pretty much that's all the stories that we have. The other ones are just, photo ops and the likes. But that's all the stories that we have. I think we should move on to Observer's Times and see what we have there.
And the Observer Times there, very interesting, very proud photo on the front
at the top.
There. Okay, let's do the stories first before I talk about the significance of that picture we have on the headline. That's Mr. Cardoso there, the CBN governor. So CBN launches Naira Ambassadors Club once against currency abuse. I would like to be a member of that club. Anything that
you see where you want to find yourself?
Money. Yes, and Olive can join the sanitation club to keep Lagos clean.
I don't mind that.
Dirty.
I don't mind that.
Still on the Observer Times, credit to manufacturers dropped 22.5% in 2025, says the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And if we want to industrialize and stimulate our economy, the manufacturing sector does have to boost. So this is not good news. You heard our guest, Dr. Muda Yusuf, the other day spoke about credit to businesses and the double-digit interest rates some of them have to pay. And now we're hearing that credit to manufacturers has dropped. Akpabio backs state police slams 65-year delay. Wow. So we've been waiting for that long. Says many want to go home without fear after office. 2/3 of senators needed to pass amendment on Wednesday. Do you think there's putting too much pressure on the state policing? Because it seems it's the silver bullet. Everybody's saying, you know, once you have state police, now you're saying they'll be able to go home without fear to their constituencies, to places that have been bedeviled with all sorts of insecurity issues. But let's wait and see. Yes.
Well, what are you waiting to see?
Let's wait when it's implemented.
Yes,
let's see what. But we shouldn't expect a turnaround. I think we should also be honest with cross-section of Nigerians or Nigerians who are watching this morning that even when we've spoken with the experts, security agents, former security personnel, they've made it clear to us that it's not an automatic.
Yeah, but the politicians are making it seem they're putting their hope, they're raising the Nigerians' hopes so high. I mean, look at what the Senate president is saying. It's the politicians that are saying, you know, when there's any security incident, they say we're working on state policing. State police is the response to every police, every security failure in Nigeria. They're the ones that are putting the pressure on them.
It was rice before. It was rice. Yeah. Have you seen how we've shifted? Before anything, give them rice.
Now it's
flood, give them rice. Death of a loved one, give them rice. Now anything, state police
and forest
flood, state police, insecurity, state police, economy going down, state police, NBS report, state police. Where we're going to is this: if the Senate president says many want to go home without fear after office, I think that we do have some. We have former office holders who are in political positions who are able to still go home.
They are in Abuja.
They are in Abuja.
Not all of them.
Not all of them are able to go home. But I also believe that the question we should be asking ourselves, why are they not able to go home?
Because non-state actors have taken over.
That's it, pretty much so.
Territories.
That's one. Two, another reason why they've not been able to go home is because these non-state actors have been armed. They're so strong. Three, the people.
Yeah,
the people have not benefited. So it's not all about, I'm going somewhere, it's not all about state police.
Yeah.
We've seen a former governor just 2 or 3 months ago, went to his local government and he was chased out. His car was stoned. The people were angry and said, leave here. So it's not, everything is not about state policing. It's also about you performing to the benefit of the people in whom you represent, either in the House of Assembly or better still, you could name it at the Senate. But then again, that's just one thing. 2/3 of senators needed to pass amendment on Wednesday. Like we say, today is D-Day on state policing. We'll find out what will come out of that. That's just what I wanted to add.
Okay.
It's not just state police. I think today is also the D-Day for Owerri's case.
That's also been postponed, I think, if I'm right. I'll find out if it's been moved.
Okay. Military raid, military air raid destroys terror hideout in Giwa, Kaduna. I'd implore members of the public, if you can, to follow the Nigerian Air Force page and Defense Headquarters on Twitter and Instagram, if you can, because they put up timely videos of air interdiction operations that they carry out before and after, how they've been hitting terrorist hideouts. And we've seen a spike in the number of attacks. It seems they're taking the battle to them. So kudos to men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Federal government imports 16,642 metric tons of cooking gas to curb price. Well, Nigerians are also adjusting to this new economic realities. Many that like beans before I've switched their diet to something that fries really fast, something like egg, noodles, and also plantain. Because if you are cooking beans, there's no time.
No, you just put out there's a hack.
Beans gas to suck gas.
Gas only cool anytime.
There's a hack to it too.
Gas, beans is a luxury meal to make.
It really is a luxury meal to make. Okay, let's move to the next paper.
I thought you were going to take the one under just that gas.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
It goes
Nigeria's
with gas.
petrol production.
Was talking energy. Nigeria's petrol production hits 48 million litres per day. That's a huge record.
Who's buying it?
We're consuming it domestically, and we're also exporting. And marketers have been so wise now that
to go and pick
from Togo, then resell it, and still make a profit.
Of course.
That means the tax regime, I mean, was it not the Dangote group that says they are paying 58 different taxes? So that breaks, it's also a factor to why fuel is still expensive. Please, can the government just look at some of these low-hanging fruits and make life easy for us? Fuel is, energy cost is too expensive.
It's sucking the air out of our lungs.
Yes, it's blowing a hole in my pocket.
Right. Okay, let's quickly take our final paper for today. That is the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper this morning, at the top right corner, you can see Nadeko rejects Abdulsalami's claims on Abiola's military rule. Now, last week, he launched his autobiography, his book, yes.
Call of Duty.
Exactly, Call of Duty. Now, what was claimed? Yeah, Call of Duty. Well, so what was claimed is, he said that the former head of state claimed that some Nadeko leaders privately asked for the military transition program to be prolonged after convinced that he was genuinely committed to handing over in 1999. And he said that this request came in 2 to 3 months into his administration. He also dismissed long-standing claims that Abiola was poisoned, maintaining that an autopsy by pathologists from Nigeria, the US, and Britain and Canada concluded that he died of natural causes linked to pre-existing hypertension and heart disease. Now let's talk about Nadeko's rebuttal. Nadeko has said that first, and we're talking about Colonel Tony Nyam. He says that that they were unaware of any recognized Nadeko leader who requested a prolongation of military rule, and stating that there was nobody who made such a request to Abdulsalami. Then, regarding Abiola's death, Nyam said that he doubted Abdulsalami's position. He said, and I quote, Chief MKO Abiola was done away with by those who did not want him to govern. He challenged the former head of state to identify those who allegedly betrayed Abiola during the struggle. So there's a lot of...
So Olive, as a senior journalist now, Abdulsalam has said one thing, Nadeko is saying another thing. Do you have to time travel back to 1999?
To go and find out what the true position is. You see, this is why the role of telling our history and documenting our stories is very important. Because look at, for example, when the NSAS protest happened, and somebody who was not a part of the struggle, who was not a part of the protest, went and wrote a book titled Sorosoke, talking about detailing the struggle against insecurity and NSAS. So it's why we as Nigerians, in the course of our lives, document, write, so that we're not having, mixed perspectives, although there still will be. I mean, even in the Holy Book, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, they all have different perspectives of similar stories.
And
let's take Frank from Port Harcourt.
Hezekiah.
Frank Benga.
Yes, we have a call from Frank from Port Harcourt. Hello, good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Benga, and others in the studio.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling.
Let me talk about the issue of the state police.
Right.
I think I'm in support of the state police this morning. Because if you look at the level of kidnapping and we need external force for them to join and fight insecurity in our country. But I want to also appeal to the federal, state, and local government for them to do their own contact. Because if you look at Nigeria now, the hunger in the land is contributing for the insecurity in our country. So the government cannot just only establish a state police without reducing hunger and poverty. So let them do that. At least if the 3 tiers of government can do their own, I think the issue of the insecurity will be at the end of the Tinubu administration. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Speaking about the state police that he's just talked about, that's the big story on the front page of the Punch. Senate votes today as Tinubu transmits bill to National Assembly. Ex-security chief split over expanded powers for governors. Senate set for historic vote as Akpabio rallies lawmakers. President sends constitution alteration bill seeking creation of state police. Then we have here, U.S. blacklist Nigerian firms over ISIS funding. OOUTH paralyzed as doctors strike over unpaid allowances. There we go again.
Sad. Here we go again.
Nigeria spends 5 times more on debt than health and education, according to a report. Another sad one. Police intercept 47 sacks of military uniforms in Lagos. Abduction fear. Oyo NUT rejects school resumption. Nadeco, okay, I've taken this one earlier. These are the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, and that's quite...
and the picture of the headline there is Governor Oyebanji
certificate of return.
Certificate of return. I haven't been certified, PASMAC by YAGA, by a number of civil society organizations, and also the United Kingdom's government, because they are High Commission in Nigeria did say, there were some concerns here and there, but it was largely free and fair, and they give it a pass back. Just wondering if they used to stone UK citizens with bread during campaign. If when Rishi Sunak was, Olive, you're one that frequents London. Have you witnessed these sort of scenes in London?
What kind of scenes? Please tell me.
When politicians are campaigning, they throw bread at the citizens.
Well, interestingly, I haven't been there.
Or they buy their vote. Do you see people doing like this? £20,000, Labour Party for life.
Well, I haven't seen such, unfortunately. I cannot speak to that.
So why are they now endorsing such practices in our own community?
That's why they say your own democracy is peculiar.
God bless you. While still a Nasir
democracy. That's what we'll keep hearing until possibly 100 years later. That's what they keep saying, 100 years later. Maybe this time they won't buy with bread.
So this story of, kudos to men and women of the Nigerian police force responsible for this interception, because you can only imagine the damage it would do if it was left to
47 sacks.
47 sacks. That's almost. Do you know how many uniforms you can make from that?
That's really.
And we have. We're getting to electoral season, insecurity. So a great one to members of the Nigerian police force.
You know what I fear. You, as we are now currently, you're not sure if you meet a military personnel on the road and you're certain that he's
especially at night,
that this is a real military personnel. That's how scary it's becoming. And I think, just as the IG of police has said, name tags, I think there should be more sensitization, proper uniform, proper identity. You know how you patent our Naira notes? It has security features.
Oh yes, and
I think they should, yes. You go through the blue lights to be able to see this. I think there should be a standard procedural, I would say, maybe appearance.
Yeah, they should put it on all their social infographics.
If you don't see any person with this and that and that.
Get their digital team to do graphics on how to identify proper, the different types of uniforms. And identify.
Okay, gentlemen, it's time for us to exit the show, but tomorrow we'll be back again. And just to let you know that Owerri will have his day in court today. I will definitely look on the matter. We have a video. I'm hoping we can wrap up with this video. This was a video that was made in South Africa whilst we're talking about the evacuation of Nigerian citizens. Listen to this video and then we'll come back to wrap up with it.
Nigeria to South Africa.
I have a date to give you today, but what you need to know is that it is at the top of the table. We are working on it, and you will be gotten home. You need to trust your missions. Not even here to take questions. I'm here, sir, to reassure you. Simple. 1 second, sir. Yes.
People are crying here.
Yes, sir.
I know how many people that just met me right now asking for just bread. And our Nigerians are politicking right there in the red chamber as if these people are rats. These are human beings.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, I'm going to say it once more, my people. He's telling me people are crying, people are suffering. It is not news. I said that myself. We are aware. If you're feeling the pain, I've also told you we are feeling the pain too. So please, anger, let me land. any kind of unruly behavior, what you will be doing is jeopardizing, let me land, the same people we're working for. I am not here to take questions. I'm here to reassure you. I'm here to tell you we see you, we hear you.
No.
My people, my people.
You people are cowards. Nigerians are crying and they are politicking right there in the red chamber. They don't want to hear them.
It's okay.
They are crying.
He has assured us that they are going.
Oh, not before. Before then, what will happen?
That video is how we begin our conversations tomorrow. It's a little longer and it gets even more interesting in the latter part of the video. So please join us tomorrow 7 a.m. live for Wake Up Conversations that leads us for the next 3 hours into Breakfast Central. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.